Welcome to a brand new series on my channel. Depending on whether or not you actually enjoy this episode with a like and comments and views or not will depend on whether or not we do more what if future episodes down the road. So today we're going to do a what if scenario regarding Tommy Angelo, the protagonist of Mafia Definitive Edition. By the way, there will be spoilers from Mafia Definitive Edition. You have been warned. If you have not played through Mafia Definitive Edition yet and you are not wanting to be spoiled, please hit the pause button and come back to this video once you've completed the game. With that out of the way, if you want more what-if scenarios for future characters for other games like Vito for Mafia 2, Lincoln for Mafia 3, Jin Sakai for Ghost of Tsushima, etc., feel free and leave a like. And by the way, we're not going to go over every single thing that happens throughout Mafia Definitive Edition. We're only going to go over basically 4 different points, different choices that Tommy would have made, possible hypothetical outcomes, overall how that would affect an alternative endgame for Tommy Angelo, as well as the events surrounding Mafia Definitive Edition. Bear in mind, this is just my theories, my thoughts, my speculation regarding how it would possibly go, and you are welcome below in the comment section to theorize, speculate, fanfic as well regarding these points we're going to talk about, as well as other events throughout the story of Mafia Definitive Edition. And no, we're not going to talk about what if Tommy lost the race, because we all pretty much get the idea of what would have transpired. Salieri would have lost everything, along with everybody else betting on Tommy. Salieri would have been a little cross about losing, and Paulie and Sam would have whacked Tommy, sending Tommy to hell, where he'd have to do the race over and over and over again throughout all eternity, never winning. That sounds familiar. Anyways, here are the 4 points that we're going to go over. What if Tommy would have made a different decision? The first what if scenario happens early on in the game, when Tommy Angelo is attacked by the Morello goons and goes to meet Don Salieri. He has an option to either take a quote-unquote small loan to get his taxi cab repaired, or he can go get revenge by trashing some of the Morello's cars along with Paulie. Most of you know how that plays out. He goes with Paulie to the Morello bar, trashes, torches some cars, which begins his career in organized crime within the Salieri crime family. However, what if Tommy decided once again, similar to the first mission in the game, that no, he wanted nothing to do with organized crime, he just wanted to make honest money as a taxi driver, and he accepted that small loan from Don Salieri, which we're just going to assume will be acceptable, affordable, it won't be ridiculous. He'll be able to eventually pay back Don Salieri with that loan to repair his cab. One thing that could happen is the Lost Heaven Cab Company looks at the fact that twice in a short period of time, there have been some issues with this cab driver, Tommy Angelo, and his taxi cab getting shot at, wrecked, trashed, and they decide to part ways with Tommy Angelo, and that leads to Tommy Angelo losing his job and moving up into Holbrook into the Hooverville, where he spends the rest of his days until the end of the Depression, and maybe he gets another opportunity at a dock worker or some other job, or he just ends up dying in Hooverville. Let's just say that Lost Heaven Cab Company chooses to turn the other way and allows Tommy to continue being a cab driver even after the small loan from Don Salieri repairs the cab car. For a short time, you have Tommy Angelo driving around, continuing to do fares until he ends up in the wrong side of Lost Heaven, where Morello happens to be. His goons have been waiting for Tommy Angelo's cab to show up, and then, unfortunately for poor Tommy Angelo, he gets whacked under quote-unquote mysterious circumstances. Either his cab car gets blown up or pushed into the river, and Tommy Angelo sleeps with the fishes, gets some cement shoes, never to be seen again. That, in my opinion, is the what-if scenario for Tommy Angelo if he chooses to remain as a cabbie. No matter what, it doesn't turn out so well for him. Plus, he doesn't end up with Sarah and that's also a tragedy. Going forward with these 3 remaining what-if scenarios, they're all going to tie in together. Tommy will make this choice, and then he'll make that choice, and then that choice, leading to the alternative endgame for Tommy Angelo, as well as Mafia Definitive Edition and an alternative Mafia verse. So what we saw regarding Tommy Angelo accepting the small loan was kind of like a pocket universe. That does not connect with what we're about to go over here. First off, when Tommy Angelo is ordered to kill the manager at the Corleone Hotel and blow up his office by Don Salieri, he's also ordered by the Don to kill one of the working girls there, Michelle. Sam, which is acquainted with Michelle, asks Tommy in confidence to not kill her, give her some money, and let her live. Just threaten her, tell her to leave town, never come back. And Tommy does agree with Sam and decides to do exactly what Sam asks. Unfortunately, as most of us know, because spoilers,
the Don knows about Frank, Tom. The whore, too.
That whore? The girl you were sweet on?
You're the one that let her live.
She's found, she's whacked, and Sam, at the end of the game, actually uses that against Tommy during the final confrontation at the art gallery, even though Sam was the one who asked Tommy not to whack Michelle. Let's just say that Tommy decides that Don Salieri's orders supersede Sam's orders, and Tommy decides to take care of Michelle despite Sam's begging and pleading him not to do so. So that's one of the things that Tommy Angelo does in the hotel. He kills the manager, he kills Michelle, he blows up the office, he escapes. Sam is obviously upset about this, but at the end of the day, Sam is kind of sort of a psychopath, sociopath, and in the end, there's part of Sam that would understand why Tommy did what he did. While killing Michelle keeps him in good standing with Don Salieri, since it's never going to come back to bite him because she's dead. She's not going to return to town, somehow not dead, only to be killed later. But at the same time, in the future, it's going to have a negative effect on Tommy's psychosis, especially when it comes to him being a loving husband and father. The next scenario revolves Frank, the consigliere, once BFF to Don Salieri, and Omerta Don Salieri tasks Tommy with finding out what happened to Frank, why has he disappeared, getting the documents, the books from Frank, and whacking him. In the game, as most of you are aware of, Tommy allows Frank and his family to flee the city of Lost Heaven, but similar to Michelle, this decision comes back to bite Tommy in the ass.
What happened to him?
He was hiding out in Europe. What a dumb bastard. He started betting at the dog track. Got spotted by a friend of the family. So Salieri, he sent out a crew.
And his family?
Because eventually Frank resurfaces in Europe, betting and old habits. He's found out. Salieri finds out, sends a crew to whack Frank and his family, his daughter and his wife. And once again, similar to Michelle, Sam uses this against Tommy in the final confrontation at the art gallery. However, what if Tommy decides to follow the Don's orders, very similar to following his orders regarding Michelle, and whacks Frank at the airport? It would also ensure that Frank's wife and daughter survives, since Don Salieri only ordered Tommy to take care of Frank. So Tommy gets the key from Frank. The daughter and the wife fly off, never to be seen again, but 2 shotgun slugs go into Frank's head. It's over for Frank. He's dead. Ripperonis. Send Don Salieri his regards. This ensures the strength, the bond between Don Salieri and Tommy. And this never comes back to bite Tommy because Tommy actually got the job done. Plus, he went to the Imperial Bank, he got the books from the safe, and he handed them over to Don Salieri. So his bond, his strength, his faith in Tommy Angelo continues to be strengthened as one of the capos in the Salieri crime family, as well as a potential heir to the Salieri family. However, similar to killing Michelle, this does have an emotional, psychological negative effect on Tommy, because Frank was a beloved mentor to Tommy, and the fact that he had to kill Frank because Don Salieri ordered him to does also lead to some negative effects when it comes to him being a quote-unquote loving husband and father to Sarah as well as his daughter. And it continues to make Tommy more similar to Sam as a social psychopath than the Tommy Angelo that we know and love. The fourth scenario that ties into the second and third scenarios involves the Imperial Bank heist. In the original story, upon the revelation that Salieri is in fact peddling in dope now, Polly and Tommy decide to go conduct a little withdrawal of funds from the Imperial Bank. Unfortunately, despite the fact that the heist goes successful, Sam finds out about it, he puts two in the back of Polly's head, and then he decides to take care of Tommy as well at the art gallery.
You killed him. You killed Polly.
No. Paulie got himself killed.
And you seem real tore up about it.
Even though it doesn't exactly end so well for Sam.
Paulie...
However, in this scenario, because Tommy has already decided to whack Michelle as well as Frank, he is deep in bed with the Don Salieri crime family as a capo, very similar to Sam. And despite the fact that Polly runs the idea of robbing the Imperial Bank by Sam and Tommy, neither Sam or Tommy want anything to do with going against the Don. If the Don isn't going to approve of robbing the Imperial Bank, then Sam and Tommy do not want to rob the bank either, which means several scenarios potentially come up for Polly. A, Polly simply just abandons the idea of robbing the bank and continues drinking and running around with broads until something unfortunately happens to Polly. Maybe he comes across the wrong guy. Maybe he screws somebody's wife and gets whacked. Perhaps Polly does something to piss off the Don, so he has Sam or Tommy or somebody else go take care of Polly once and for all. Or Polly simply just remains a member of the Don Salieri crime family, basically the muscle, but nowhere near the same level and rank as capos like Sam and Tommy happen to be. He still remains in a lower level when it comes to the crime family, despite the over decade and the loyalty and all the hard work that Polly has put in to service towards Don Salieri. He's just never quite earned enough respect from the Don or trust in order to move up to the rank of capo, where you see Sam and Tommy. The second scenario involves Polly deciding to rob the Imperial Bank without Sam or Tommy's help. He decides to hire an unreliable crew. The robbery goes terribly wrong. People are killed, and the police either capture and arrest Polly or kill him. If he's arrested, he most likely ends up dying in prison. And when Don Salieri finds out about Polly going behind his back conducting the robbery, he either turns his back on Polly and abandons him, or while Polly is in prison, Don Salieri arranges for Polly to be quote-unquote dealt with, shanked. Now let's get to the alternative end game for Tommy Angelo. How do all of his decisions that have been changed from killing Michelle as well as Frank play out in the final end game? Tommy Angelo's fate is obviously going to be a lot different than how it ended in Mafia Definitive Edition. No, he's not going to run across Vito and Joe walking up to him while he's watering his lawn in Empire Bay.
Mr. Angelo. Yes. Mr. Salieri sends his regards.
Things turn out a little bit differently. Don Salieri has no known biological heirs. We don't know if he has a son. We know he doesn't have any daughters. So we can assume that eventually either Sam or Tommy is going to be the heir to the Salieri crime family. Eventually, somewhere down the road, Sam, very similar to Don Morello, decide to take matters into his own hands and have Don Salieri die under quote-unquote suspicious circumstances. But as with the death of Don Pepone, there is a temporary truce, a peace between Sam and Tommy. Going forward, history is repeating itself. They form two separate crime families, the Angelo crime family under Tommy, the Trapani crime family under Sam. Eventually, that peace does not last, similar with Morello and Salieri. Somewhere down the road, Sam and Tommy will be at odds with each other, pitting the Angelo and Trapani crime families against one another. History will repeat itself. And since Sam isn't above dealing in dope, it results in his organization having more funds, more money, more muscle potentially than Tommy Angelo's crime family. However, the fact that the commission at this time is very much against peddling in drugs, they possibly might end up siding with Tommy Angelo in a Angelo-Trapani war for Lost Heaven. Or at the very least, Leo Galante and the others would come in to mediate some sort of peace deal between the Angelo and Trapani crime families so that they would have to share the city of Lost Heaven. Unfortunately for Tommy, if Don Falcone is allied with Sam, then that could be very bad news for Tommy Angelo as well as the Angelo crime family and his own family, Sarah, and his beloved daughter. The end result is either an enforced truce by the commission upon the Trapani and Angelo crime families, where Sam and Tommy have no choice but to remain at peace for a time until war breaks out again, or Sam possibly gains the upper hand and has Sarah, her daughter, as well as Tommy conveniently taken out of the picture, giving full control of Lost Heaven to Sam Head, Don, of the Trapani crime family. And there you have it, my what-if scenario regarding Tommy Angelo for Mafia Definitive Edition. Some of the choices he may have made, some of the possible outcomes. Now, I don't expect you to agree with me 100%. That's why these are so much fun to do, these what-if alternative verse scenarios, these ideas, these thoughts. And now is your opportunity below in the comment section regarding whatever events you wish to talk about throughout the story of Mafia Definitive Edition, even if it's something ridiculous, silly, or trivial, feel free and do so. And in your opinion regarding the decisions that Tommy makes here from my scenarios, whacking Michelle, whacking Frank, Polly dying because of the bank heist, history repeating itself, leading to the quote-unquote death of Don Salieri, leading the Trapani and Angelo crime families having to share control of Lost Heaven. How would this scenario play out in your opinion? And what other what-if scenarios would you like to see me do a future of in the future? Vito for Mafia 2, Lincoln for Mafia 3, Jin Sakai for Ghost of Tsushima. Your thoughts, your views, your opinions about my what-if scenario series and how you think things would play out for Tommy from your point of view, as well as your fanfic, welcome below in the comments section.